All right, this is going to be our homework help video for the homework titled Solving Radical Equations. I'm just going to do two problems from here, but they're going to be two of the more difficult ones. Hopefully that'll help you out to get this one done. Get ready for our mini quiz. All right, the first one I want to do is number 13. Here I've got a single radical equal to some values that aren't under a radical. So these types of problems generally result in quadratic. So we're going to see that here. First thing I'm going to do is square both sides. That gets rid of my square root. After I do that, the square root and the squared cancel on the left-hand side. And I get 7 minus 2n equals the quantity n minus 4 squared. And if I expand that out, I get n minus 4 times n minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL what's on the right-hand side there. So I get 7 minus 2n equals our first terms multiplied, give us an n squared. Outside, give us a minus 4n. Inside, negative 4n. Last gives us a plus 16. We keep going. Keep simplifying. 7 minus 2n equals n squared minus 8n plus 16. Subtract 7 from both sides and add 2n to both sides. This here is going to give us 0 equals n squared minus 6n plus 9. So once I had the quadratic, I knew that to solve it, I needed to set it equal to 0 so that I could factor and then use my zero product property. Pretty much once you've got that n squared, you know I'm trying to get this equal to 0 because I can't really do anything until it's equal to 0. So let's see, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to be 9 but add to be negative 6. That's going to be a negative 3 and a negative 3. And that gives us the value n equals 3, the multiplicity of 2. But is that actually our answer, or is it extraneous? To check that, you got to plug it back in. So now I've got the square root of 7 minus 2 times 3 equals 3 minus 4. 7 minus 6, that's going to be the square root of 1, or 1 equals 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So this is actually an extraneous solution, and since it was our only solution, we could just say no solution. So extraneous, therefore no solution. All right, next problem I want to do is either 15 or 16. They look pretty equivalent. 15 looks like it's got more negatives, so we'll do that one. The radical on the right-hand side here is already isolated, so I know my first step is going to be square both sides to get rid of that radical. Later on, I'll have to square both sides again to get rid of this radical, or what results from this side here. So this is going to give me negative 3 plus the square root of 10 minus b. And since it's squared, I have to write it twice, just like this. And then over here, squared negates the square root. I'm just left with negative 5 minus b. All right, I FOIL this. I'm going to get 9 minus 3 square root 10 minus b minus 3 square root 10 minus b. And then when I do my last terms, the square roots will cancel out. I'll be left with just plus 10 minus b. Negative 5 minus b. All right, let's combine our like terms here. We're going to have negative 6 square root 10 minus b. Since the square root 10 minus b is the same, we can just combine the coefficients there. The 9 and the 10 are going to come together to become a 19. We've got this minus b here. Continue to combine like terms by adding b to both sides. We see the b's actually cancel out. That's convenient. Subtracting 19 from both sides. Now I've got a negative 6 root 10 minus b equals negative 5 minus 19 is negative 24. Divide both sides by negative 6. And I get square root of 10 minus b equals this, becomes a positive 4. Now we can square both sides to get rid of the remaining radical. Now we've got 10 minus b equals 16. Subtract 10 from both sides. Negative b equals positive 6. Divide both sides by negative 1. We get that b equals negative 6. Let's check and see. Yeah, that is the correct answer. It's the only answer. Still is worthwhile to make sure it's not an extraneous solution. I'll actually go through that process right now, just to be doubly sure that this is our answer. So I plug in 6 for b. Wait, I plug in negative 6 for b. So minus a negative, minus a negative, negative 3 plus the square root 16 equals square root negative 5 plus 6 is 1. I got negative 3 plus 4 equals 1. 1 equals 1. All right, so it's not extraneous. Negative 6 is our only solution, and it checks out. All right, so hopefully that helps with this homework here. I will see you in class.